So, hi guys. Today's video, for the first time ever, we are reacting to YouTube. Yep, I know. I've not reacted to YouTube in a while. Okay. I should react to a fake.
I load into a random game and bro, no way. Is that K? Bro, I'm K. You actually think you can beat me, he said. I looked at him and said, you are not K, buddy. Yes, I am. Check my name, bro, he said. I said, okay, then prove it. And we ran it. You're so lucky, bro. I wasn't even trying, he said immediately. Bro was not K. The real K would never say that. I asked him, so when does the real K show up then? I am K, he said. Okay, sure. Whatever you say, buddy. Now he has the nerve to call me annoying. I told him the real K would have put up a fight by now. He went completely silent. Didn't say a word. Which means he was cooked, and he knew it. Okay, I'm actually trying now, he said before the round started. Bro said trying. Down 3-0. I finished the round and couldn't even say anything. The score did the talking. And then out of nowhere, everything changed. He switches his whole playstyle up, and I was not ready for it. Takes the round and goes, see, told you I was holding back. Okay, buddy, we'll see about that, I said. But bro actually changed something, and I'm not gonna lie, that was scary. He comes back even more aggressive. I could not do anything. 4-2 now. K never loses, he said. There is no way this is happening right now. This is literally the same thing that happened the last time. But I missed way too many shots and sold the round. 4-3. Bro had me actually tweaking. 4-3. Just give up, bro. K always comes back, he said. I told him, bet, watch this. I have to lock in right now. I start the round missing shots. He's hitting everything. Catches me last second. He ties it up. I went completely silent. 4-4. Match point? I am not losing to a faker on Roblox right now. Hey, buddy, activate Crossbow Connor. Biggest mistake of his life. I came in hot. Not missing a single shot. Crossbow Connor does not miss. Jump, twist, turn, scope in, bang. Don't ever impersonate someone and think Crossbow Connor won't find out.
Well, that's nice.
I was watching the New Year's fireworks exploding while my dog sat calmly beside me. Gringo
well, I should have checked this dude out, actually. He's pretty good.
My twin brother texted me at 6:48 p.m. My date will be there at 7. Her name is Claire. Please pretend to be me. He was stuck 3 states away. His flight wasn't moving, and I had 13 minutes with zero information. Claire knocked at 7:02, holding 2 grocery bags. I got everything on your list, she said, walking past me into the kitchen. Shallots, good olive oil, fresh pasta, everything for your grandmother's carbonara. She set the bags down and smiled. I've been thinking about this all week. I rubbed my face, trying to remember what a shallot was. Right, I said, the carbonara. She tied on an apron and looked at me expectantly while I opened the bag and stared at it like a crime scene. I found pasta, which was the full extent of my knowledge, then put a pot on the stove and turned every burner to high because I didn't know which knob matched which flame. You okay? I nearly dropped the spatula, just getting in the zone. Under the counter, I texted my brother, what is a shallot? Claire told me about her week while I nodded, sweated, and dumped the pasta in before the water boiled because I needed to look busy. She stopped mid-sentence. Did you just put pasta in cold water? I stood straighter. I do it differently. It's a texture thing. She raised her eyebrow at me. Your grandmother taught you that? The shallot rolled off the cutting board onto the floor. She was unconventional. I survived 20 more minutes by asking questions whenever she looked at the stove and refilling her wine whenever she looked at me. The carbonara came out as a pale clump I played in 2 bowls like a small surrender. She took 1 bite, chewed slowly, then brought her napkin to her mouth and politely spit the food out. This is exactly how my ex made it, she said. He couldn't cook either. I put my fork down and put both of my hands on the table. Claire, I have to tell you something. She picked up her wine. I know. I froze. Matthew is lactose intolerant, she said. There's half a cup of Parmesan in that carbonara. She swirled her glass. I figured it out around the shallots. My mouth hung open in shock. You're funnier than him, she said. Same face though. My twin brother texted me at 6:48 p.m. My date will be a 6'7" basketball player at our school, pointed at the 2-foot guy on our bench and laughed. Bro, I know I just transferred to this school, but why is he even on the team? Bristol slid off the bench, barely cleared the Giant's knee, and said, I challenge your to a one-on-one. First to 5. Loser buys the other lunch the rest of the year. The Giant grinned and responded, easy. We all felt bad because no one ever played Bristol before, and none of us knew what to expect. They ran out to the court, and the Giant scored scored the first
Whoa,
bucket,
this
shooting
is
straight
actually
over
pretty
Bristol's
nice.
head, like he wasn't even there. Soon the score was 4-0,
no.
and he held the ball high above Bristol's head and grinned. "Come reach for it, little man." He made Bristol struggle to get the ball for 2 whole minutes before he finally rolled it to him. "Here, consider this charity, little one." Bristol bounced the ball once, twice, and his whole face went cold. He slipped between the Giant's legs, and in seconds he had the ball going through the hoop. He spun past him for the next one, and the next. Then he crossed so hard, the Giant slipped and sat down on the floor, and Bristol made the layup. We all had our eyes glued to the court, none of us on our phones, and the score was 4-4. The Giant stomped his large foot on the ground. "You got lucky!" The whole gym leaned forward in their seats, and one kid was even eating popcorn. Bristol dribbled to the top, looked up at a rim 10 feet above him, and took off. He went up, and somehow threw it down with both hands. The backboard was still shaking, and I was on my feet screaming with everyone else. Bristol's been sitting on that bench for 2 years, and none of us knew that we'd end up feeling sorry for the wrong guy. The Giant bought Bristol lunch every day after that, and on the first day he picked him up, stood him on top of the bench, and sat down on the floor at his feet. For that second, the smallest kid in the whole school was looking down at the Giant. A 6'7" basketball player at our school.
That's insane.
Tapping into their pocket.
I shot up out of bed the second I heard glass shattering, grabbed my trusty bat from underneath, and flew down the stairs before I could think. A shattered vase was spread
Who freaking keeps a bat under their bed? Like, oh my god.
across the floor, and my dog's crate sat wide open, empty. I called Biscuit's name through the whole house and got nothing back. Then I spotted a cracked phone glowing in the broken glass, dropped by whoever knocked the vase over running out. The screen had one message on it: "Bring the Frenchie to the warehouse on Lowell by 6. I jumped up and down in my kitchen. This is sick. This is literally John Wick. So I tossed the bat aside, dropped onto the couch, and watched the whole movie again to pump myself up. Then I threw on my only suit and tie, slid on a pair of blacked out shades, and spun a pencil once before holstering it in my jacket like a gun. They have no idea who they just messed with. Every last one of them is about to face my wrath. I pushed through the warehouse door, and the first guy charged me, so I threw the hardest punch of my life, missed, and hit the wall behind him. While I shook out my hand, he wound up to swing, so I flinched and tripped into a stack of pallets. They toppled onto his head and knocked him out cold. I cracked my neck like I'd meant to do that. Another guy pulled a gun, but right as he aimed, my cheap suit pants split down the back. I bent down to check, just as he fired, so the bullet sailed over my head, pinged off a metal pole, and ricocheted back into him. He crumpled to the floor crying. I followed the barking to a cage in the back, guarded by the biggest man I'd ever seen. He lifted me off the floor by my collar while
This is
did
insane.
nothing, but Biscuit shoved his squeaky bone through the bars. The Giant stepped back onto it, and 400 pounds came down on his own head. I grabbed Biscuit and held him tight. Then the boss rounded the corner with a gun, so I panicked and threw my pencil as hard as I could, just like the movie. It missed by a mile, clipped a propane tank, and the blast sent him through the window into the night sky like a rocket. The place caught fire, so I carried Biscuit out, and the second I cleared the door, the warehouse exploded behind us, and I never looked back. I didn't land a single punch in there, but when people ask how one guy leveled a warehouse and got his dog back, I fix my tie and say I trained for it. I shot up out of bed the second I heard glass shattering, grabbed my trusty bat. I grabbed my yellow helmet at the end of my shift, but it wouldn't come off. I felt it with my fingers and found a ridge of dried glue sealing it to my hair. I heard someone laughing behind me and turned around to see my coworker Raymond filming.
I was today years old.
I grabbed my yellow helmet.
I was today years old.
The cop grabbed my skateboard out of my hands, snapped it in half over his knee, and threw it in the trunk like it was a weapon. I was 17, walking home from the gas station with my board under one arm. "You kids think sidewalks are racetracks," he said. "I'm not even riding it." That was all I got out before he screamed, "Stop resisting," and hit me chest first into the pavement. My cheek scraped concrete, his knee dug into my back. He cuffed me so tight my fingers started buzzing. Then he held up a citation and smiled. $30 for riding after dark. He shoved me into the back seat and slammed the door. The cruiser smelled like old coffee and sweat. He kept my skateboard in the trunk and kept tapping the steering wheel, singing terrible country music over the radio, drifting over the yellow line like the road belonged to him. Then he pulled into a bar parking lot. I sat up straight. "This isn't the station." He looked at me in the rearview mirror. "I need to investigate something." He locked the doors and went inside. For 2 hours, I sat cuffed in the back seat, watching people come and go under the neon sign. When he finally came out, he stumbled once, caught himself, and opened the driver's door. The whole car filled with the smell of alcohol. I started yelling before he shifted shifted into drive. Call another officer. You can't drive. He turned the radio up. He rolled through the first red light and he blew straight through the next. I kicked the partition with both feet, but he just sang louder. Then headlights filled my window. A semi-horn blasted so loud it shook the glass. The cop yelled, jerked the wheel, and the whole cruiser folded sideways around the impact. I woke up in the hospital surrounded by beeping machines. I tried to sit up. Nothing moved under the blanket. Not my knees, not my feet. I was paralyzed. They made me pay $30 for riding a skateboard after dark. The cop paid me $3 million because I never rode one again. The cop grabbed my skateboard out of my hands, snapped it. My most down bad friend Catalan jumped onto the lunch table and shouted, "Say nothing if you want me." The whole cafeteria went dead silent. He looked down at me, hands on his hips, grinning. Hear that? That's the sound of a room that wants me. He hopped off the table and strolled toward his crush like he owned the floor. The second she figured out what was going on, she shot out of her chair and started screaming at the top of her lungs. Catalan closed his eyes and nodded. That's fine. There's plenty of fish in the sea. He looked around for his next victim, and that's when the entire cafeteria erupted into noise. He started spinning around the room, looking for anyone who was still quiet, and that's when his eyes locked on the back corner. The lunch lady stood at the register in her hairnet, scrolling her phone, not making any noise because she didn't know what was going on. Catalan's grin stretched wide as he pointed at her over everyone's heads. She didn't scream. You know what that means. No, there was no way. He started walking, and the whole room turned to watch. The lunch lady looked up, saw a teenager spreading his arms at her, and screamed louder than the whole cafeteria combined. She stumbled back into the soda machine and jabbed her finger at him. Gerald, we got one! Catalan put his hand on her shoulder and started stroking. There's no need to worry, baby girl, Papa's home. Suddenly, Gerald, the security guard, spun Catalan around and walked up to the doors. Gerald marched him towards the cafeteria door. And Catalan...
In this video, I'm going to be making a
I was one jump from a new high score in Jetpack Joyride when Mom snatched the iPad out of my hands. Dad towered over me. "You've been playing for 8 hours straight. Go touch grass." My friends groaned from the couch as Mom locked the iPad in a drawer and pocketed the key. "If I somehow see you on this iPad again, you're grounded until college." But as soon as they walked off, I grinned at my friends because I wasn't done flying yet. I led them to my dad's garage and I strapped 2 leaf blowers to a hiking backpack, taping the whole rig down tight. I will be beating my high score. iPad or no iPad. One of my friends grabbed the straps while I climbed in and hit both triggers. The blowers screamed and knocked me flat on the grass. My friend shouted, "Angle them down, not back." So I aimed the nozzles down and taped a skateboard to my shoes. Every test pushed me higher, a foot up, then level with the porch rail. We had 30 minutes before my parents came back home, and I was determined to beat my Jetpack Joyride high score. I waved everyone goodbye and squeezed both triggers as hard as I could. My feet left the grass. The blowers roared and I shot up over the roof, high enough to see the whole street. My friends screamed from the lawn, but right as I started counting my jumps through the air, I saw my parents pulling into the driveway. Mom and Dad climbed out and stared up at me. Dad pulled out his phone and my hands locked on the triggers because I thought he was calling the police. But then I saw he was filming, grinning so wide I saw it from the sky. "How high can you get this thing?" Mom cupped her hands around her mouth and shouted up at me, "Make 2 more." I didn't stay in the air long enough to beat my high score, but every Saturday me and my parents fly over the rooftops. I beat them every time, and my dad hasn't told me to touch grass since. I was one jump from a new high score in Jetpack Joyride when Mom snatched... My daughter took out her extremely short shorts from her shopping bag. "Look, Dad, aren't these cute? All the girls in my new school wear stuff like this." My face drained of color as she kept going with her shopping haul because she started pulling out extremely cropped crop tops, sports bras, and short skirts. I opened up her wardrobe. "Honey, those are extremely inappropriate. Plus, I thought you loved your jeans and maxi skirts." She crossed her arms. "I don't see a problem with them, Dad. Stop being so controlling." I sighed because my daughter was giving into peer pressure, and I had no idea how to prove my point to her until 2 days later when I heard her on the phone promising her new friends she'd be at the party on Saturday. That day, I ordered an outfit from Amazon in a size XXS that looked exactly like what my daughter was wearing. When Saturday evening came, she left the house in the shortest blue shorts I'd seen yet, paired with a tube top. I waited an hour before I started driving to the party my daughter was at, wearing the same short blue shorts and tube top she'd worn that day. And as soon as I walked in, the whole party turned to me, and I saw my daughter at the front completely red. Everyone watched as she stormed over to me. "Dad, did you come here in short shorts just to humiliate me and prove a point about a stupid outfit?" I put my hands on my hips and did my best girl voice. "What? They're not even that short?" A few seconds later, someone finally broke the silence and burst out laughing. A girl in the back said, "This is totally something my dad would do." The girl that looked like she was popular smiled. "Maybe this shorts trend is a little weird." My daughter laughed nervously, and I wasn't sure if I just cooked our relationship or not. But the next morning while getting dressed for school, she took out the jeans buried in the back of her closet. "I guess these are pretty cute too." My daughter took out her extremely short shorts from her shopping bag. Look, Dad, aren't these cute? All the girls in my new school wear stuff like this. My face drained of color as she kept going with her shopping haul.
What?
Because she started pulling out extremely cropped
Okay.
I made one bird noise at lunch, and Sean threw a chicken nugget at my face. Everyone at the table had dared me to do the hawk again, so I tipped my head back and let it rip across the cafeteria. For one perfect second, even the lunch ladies froze. Sean picked up a nugget, fired it across the table, and hit me on the cheek. Do a real talent, bird boy. I could copy any bird in the state. Red-tailed hawk, morning.
Okay, guys, that's gonna be it for today, so hope you enjoyed. So, bye, guys.